Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Israel blames Iran for an attack on a civilian cargo vessel while transiting through the Arabian Sea. The United Arab Emirates withdraws a UN Security Council draft resolution which called for the condemnation of Israel's settlement activity in the West Bank territories. Unidentified aircraft conduct a deadly aerial strike on Iranian and Syrian army installations in Syria's capital, Damascus. Israel primarily confronts two enemies, including the Islamic Republic of Iran, which proactively seeks to aggressively assert its dominance regionally and beyond, and the ongoing battle against terror emanating from Palestinian towns and villages, with chief focus on the West Bank districts of Judea, Samaria, and the Jordan Valley. In opening remarks to his weekly cabinet meeting in Jerusalem, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu initially focused on the government's efforts to ratchet up pressure on the latter.
אנחנו נאבקים מול שתי חזיתות עיקריות נגד אויבינו, חזית הטרור והחזית האיראנית. מול חזית הטרור, בנוסף לפעולות והחוקים החדשים והתקיפים שאנחנו מקדמים נגד המחבלים וסביבתם הקרובה, אנחנו פועלים במשנה מרץ גם נגד ההסתה. סיכמתי בסוף השבוע עם השר בן גביר על הקמת צוות משימה מיוחד כדי להילחם נגד המסיתים למעשה רצח נגדנו. בראש הצוות יעמוד השר לביטחון לאומי. הוא יקבל תגבור של חוקרים, שוטרים, פרקליטים, וזאת בתיאום מלא עם משרד המשפטים ובהשתתפות גורמים מהשב"כ, צה"ל ומטה הסייבר הלאומי. אני מאחל לשר בן גביר יחד עם כל חברי הממשלה הצלחה במשימה החשובה הזו.
The government's intention to take vigorous action against incitement comes in the wake of repeated acts of terror perpetrated in recent months by Palestinian teenagers of 13 and 14 years of age who were exposed to incitement on social media, which was promoted by the Iranian proxy Palestinian Islamic Jihad and the Islamist Hamas organizations, among other internationally designated terror groups. In tandem, as part of Operation Wavebreaker, IDF, ISA or Shin Bet, and Border Police Special Operations units conducted counter-terror activities over the weekend, during the course of which a total of 24 suspected terror operatives were successfully apprehended. It is worth mentioning that other than a limited-in-scale riot that was instigated in the village of El-Hadel, to which the Israeli troops responded with crowd dispersal methods, there were no extraordinary reports of any terror-related resistance against the operational Israeli forces. And while the Israeli government's activities to dissuade the Palestinian leadership from providing tailwind to violence directed toward Israel, the Biden administration has once again stressed its dismay over Israel's intentions to retroactively legalize 9 outposts which were built deep within the disputed territories.
We are deeply dismayed by Israelis' announcement that they will advance thousands of new settlements and retroactively legalize 9 outposts in the West Bank that were until now illegal under Israeli law. The United States strongly opposes these unilateral measures, which exacerbates tensions, harm trust between the parties, and undermine the geographic viability of the two-state solution. During his recent trip to Israel, Secretary Blinken was clear that all parties should refrain from actions that heighten tensions and take us further away from peace.
The White House press secretary further highlighted the Biden administration's firm opposition to the expansion of Jewish communities, which are situated on disputed lands which the Palestinians demand for a future state of their own.
Settlement construction and expansion in the heart of the West Bank to include the legalization of outposts creates facts on the ground that undermine a two-state solution. It has been long-standing U.S. policy under both Republican and Democratic administrations that settlements are counterproductive to the cause of peace. The Biden administration maintains this firm opposition to the settlement expansion, and that is where we are with that at this time.
Despite Washington's so-called deep dismay, the U.S. State Department announced that it will not support a UN Security Council draft resolution which aims to demand of Israel to immediately and completely cease all settlement activities in what the international community regards as occupied Palestinian territory. Per the wording of the draft resolution, which was put forward by the United Arab Emirates, it sought to have the UN Security Council, quote, reaffirm that the establishment by Israel of settlements in the Palestinian territory occupied since 1967, including East Jerusalem, has no legal validity and constitute a flagrant violation under international law.
We have been fairly consistent in over the course of this administration that we don't view the UN as the most practical or useful forum for discussing this issue, and that this is something that the two sides need to discuss and engage and negotiate and work on among themselves, and that steps like settlement activity, steps like the introduction of such a resolution are unhelpful and put us further away from a negotiated two-state solution, which has been our consistent viewpoint in where we would like this to end.
Following extensive pressure exerted by the United States and a reported commitment by Israel to not legalize any additional outposts beyond the announced legalization of 9 communities in the months ahead, the UAE informed the UN Security Council that it will not call for a vote during today's session. Returning to Jerusalem, where Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu highlighted Israel's ongoing confrontation with the Islamic Republic of Iran.
מול החזית האיראנית, המאמצים שלנו אינם פוסקים מסיבה פשוטה, כי מעשי התוקפנות של איראן אינם פוסקים. בשבוע שעבר איראן תקפה שוב מכלית נפט במפרץ הפרסי ופגעה בחופש השיט הבינלאומי. אתמול איראן תקפה בסיס אמריקני בסוריה. איראן ממשיכה לשלוח נשק קטלני שפוגע בהמוני אזרחים חפים מפשע הרחק מגבולותיה. איראן מנסה לפגוע בלי הרף במדינת ישראל ובאזרחיה באשר הם במקומות שונים בעולם. ההתקפות של איראן לא ירפו את ידינו. לא נאפשר לאיראן להשיג נשק גרעיני ולא נאפשר לה להתבסס בגבולנו הצפוני. אנחנו עושים הכל ונעשה הכל כדי להגן על אזרחינו, ואנחנו מגיבים בעוצמה על ההתקפות נגדנו.
The Israeli premier referred to yet another drone attack on a cargo vessel, which sustained relatively light damage while transiting through the Arabian Sea on February 10th. And while no claims of responsibility were made for the attack on the Liberian-flagged vessel, which is owned by an Israeli shipping tycoon, intelligence agencies pointed a blaming finger toward the Islamic Republic of Iran, which conveniently denied its involvement.
ما قویاً چنین اتهامی رو رد می‌کنیم. رژیم صهیونیستی به اتهام زنی به جمهوری اسلامی ایران همانند حامی اساسی و اصلی خودش دولت آمریکا عادت کرده.
The Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman stopped short from addressing Israel's allegation of Iran's responsibility in attacking U.S. forces in Syria on Saturday. According to the U.S. Central Command, the attack included 2 rockets that exploded near coalition forces at Green Village, which is situated in eastern Syria. Thankfully, no injuries or damage were reported, and CENTCOM noted in a statement that it is investigating the incident. Separately, it has been confirmed that a number of U.S. Special Operations Forces sustained wounds while on a mission to apprehend a leader of the Islamic State in eastern Syria.
U.S. military and SDF partner forces conducted a helicopter raid against an ISIS senior leader, a man named Hamza al-Hamzi. And he was overseeing the group's deadly terrorist network in eastern Syria before he was killed in the raid. As the Pentagon has reported, an explosion during the raid also resulted in 4 U.S. troops and 1 other working dogs suffering some injuries. The troops and the working dog are in stable conditions, are being treated at a U.S. military facility, medical facility in Iraq, and I think the Pentagon will have more information on that.
Meanwhile, unidentified aircraft launched multiple salvos of precision-guided munitions in southern suburbs of the Syrian capital Damascus, claiming the lives of at least 15 individuals identified as both Iranian and Iranian-backed operatives operating in the area. In response, the Syrian Aerial Defense Array launched multiple surface-to-air rockets in a failed attempt to intercept the incoming projectiles. Consequently, the unidentified aircraft reportedly struck the Syrian Air Force batteries and radar systems, which were utilized against them, causing extensive material damage. Separately, the Syrian military also announced that Brigadier General Sharaf al-Mohandes and researcher Amjad Ahmad Ali, both of whom worked on classified development projects, were killed in the alleged Israeli strike. Meanwhile, the Russian Defense Ministry released a statement attributing responsibility to the Israeli Air Force. Nevertheless, the IDF spokesperson's unit did not confirm or deny its alleged responsibility in response to TV7's request for comment. Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. We would like to encourage you, pray for our persecuted brothers and sisters worldwide, as well as for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. Jonathan Hassan wishing you a Shavua Mevorach, and God willing, we'll see you again tomorrow at the same time.